with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
What a great interview with Senator Tammy Duckworth. Good to hear Jonas Posito and, of course, Chris Beery asking some questions about what's happening here in Chicago. And I agree. I think that for the most part, as far as I can tell, people are going to keep their wits about them. For those of you just joining us, of course, we have been getting alerts today that this new launch of ICE agents on Chicago, I think they're calling it Midway Blitz, which alludes a lot to the Nazis and World War II, and of course, but my husband was like, is it like the Monsters of the Midway? Like, are we doing a Bears thing? Which, by the way, sorry to all of our Bears fans last night. That was very painful. If you watched the first three quarters, I hope that's when you stopped watching the game, because then you're much happier today if you don't know anything. But at any rate, that's them's the breaks, folks. And we love our teams here in Chicago, no matter their ineptitudes. Anyway, speaking of ineptitude, the Trump administration is continuing to deny that these drawings from the Epstein birthday book are not signed by him, not drawn by him. Like, even getting into it is just so absurd and a waste of our time. So let's move on to other things for a moment, because we have some really great guests coming up, and we have a contest running. We're going to have two contests today. We have two. So if you don't win something in the first time, you got another shot at winning the second prize, which Warren Price will tell us about in just a few moments. But right now, I want to tell you about Paula Poundstone coming to town, and I get to talk to Paula Poundstone tomorrow. I'm super excited. On Saturday, September 27th, Paula Poundstone is bringing her smart, observational humor and spontaneous wit to Skokie's North Shore Center for the Performing Arts for one night only. So you got to get over to see her. I saw her 26 years ago, something like that, and she was phenomenal. Somebody came in late, and it was a very friendly conversation. They came in like 20 minutes into her set, and mind you, this is about 40 minutes after the opening act had gone on, and so it was pretty deep into the show. And they came in and disrupted the show, because some people come in and they don't just kind of quietly come in, or this was like a loud entrance. Excuse me, like disrupting an entire row of people. And to be honest with you, it was at the Navy Pier, it was at the Skyline Theater, and there were a couple of other seats along the way. They could have just ducked in and maybe found another, regardless. So she engaged them and started talking to them and asking them what they did for a living, and in a roundabout way asked if their boss was okay with them also showing up to work late. Of course, at any rate, it was so artfully done, and I'm not doing it any good credit. But at any rate, go see Paula Poundstone on September 27th. You can buy tickets at northshorecenter.org. That's northshorecenter.org. But right now, I do have a pair of tickets to give away. If you're the second caller at 773-763-9278, the second caller on our Credo mobile phone and text line, just a phone line, 773-763-9278. Second caller gets a pair of tickets for Paula Poundstone. They're all yours. That's for Saturday, September 27th at 8 p.m. Again, the number 773-763-9278. The second caller gets the tickets, and this is an opportunity for maybe folks who've never called the station before. You'll talk to Lady B. If you want to come on the air, just tell Lady B I'd love to go on the air with Patti, and we'll get you on the air. Contest running on WCPT 820 are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the Greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. One entry per person, one winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking the contest tab. And there you have it. In a moment, we're going to check in with our friend Warren Price, who's going to have our second prize to give away. First of all, we have to give away this prize. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patti. I never get any opportunity to read the Origin of Species by Darwin, but I imagine that Holman has to be in one of the chapters in that book, because he looks like a Neanderthal man.
He's got like this big giant head and this little teeny tiny teeth. It's like his baby teeth didn't come out yet or something, and he's still trying to wrap his lips around them. Like,
I know, my kid. Yeah, Trump must have got him out of his director from The Apprentice or something, because he came out and said,
I don't know. Yeah, he ain't done. Put him back in the oven and keep baking him. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, really. And I was going to say, what's really screwy is fooling around with healthcare, because I saw the stock market, the healthcare shares shot up today, because they know that the American public has to get health care, that they have families and have people are worried about, and so on. So people are probably scrambling with their last buck, trying to figure out how they're going to maintain their health care. And it's just for the what for Musk, Musk. They used to argue. I remember years ago when they were talking about general health care for everybody. They had a guy and he said, "Well, why would a billionaire get the same health care as a homeless person in the street?" And I thought to myself, "My God, what difference does it? What difference does it make?
Exactly.
We're cadavers. We're cadavers in a hospital room. I mean, what? You know what I mean?
Yikes.
I mean, what's the difference if he?" Yeah, but if he gets 10 more breaths than the homeless guy, so what? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Healthcare should be for everybody, Patty, and you know it, and I know it, and the doctors you have on are great, and they know it too. Anyway, thanks, Patty. Take care, dear. Take care. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Bye.
Thank you, Lady B. We have our winner for the tickets. Okay, and I think Warren is on line 3, right? Is that our friend Warren with another contest for folks? Let me see it. Oh, he's on line 3. We'll get to him in a moment. We are making sure we get, because there's an event coming up that I have another prize for, but don't call us yet about the prize. If you want to call and join us on the air, that's one thing. But we have our friend Warren Price from Source Solar to tell you about an event coming up this Sunday, September 14th. It's the 5K Run, Walk, or Roll, sponsored by Banner Wholesale Foods. It's the Run for the Parks, and this is to benefit the Chicago Parks Foundation. And of course, our parks are such a big part of our lives. We are the park. I don't think we get enough credit for the park system that we have here in Chicago, but we are certainly just blessed, and we have to take care of our parks. So Warren Price is on the line to tell us more about the 5K Run, Walk, or Roll, sponsored by Banner Wholesale Foods this Sunday. What's going on, Warren? What do you got for us?
Ding, 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 ding. Well, we have the Chicago Park District Foundation presents Run for the Park, the 5K Run, Walk, or Roll, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Sponsored by Banner Wholesale on this Sunday. I'm coming there, and I'm looking for people to join my team.
Oh.
And I'm giving away every day this week. 2 people can come with me, and I'm going to pay for their part of the charity. All they have to do is call you,
okay,
give you their name and information. I'll contact them, and then they can join us for all the entire event, including a free breakfast. You get a T-shirt, and you get to enjoy giving back.
All right. Well, we're going to wait a few minutes, and you got to pick a number between. I don't want to put Lady B. She just gave away the prize. Lady B, are we ready for another round of prizes? All right. So this time we'll do caller number 2 again. This makes it easier. 773-763-9278. Warren is waving.
How about caller number 2 and 3?
Oh, callers number 2 and 3. Oh, we got 2 sets because I believe we were unsure of yesterday's winner. So let's give away yesterday. So callers 2 and 3. Warren is waiving your entrance fee and donating that to the Chicago Parks Foundation. Plus, that includes a pancake breakfast. Is that right?
Pancake breakfast, and there's going to be you get a free T-shirt, and there's other giveaways also.
Oh, yeah.
Which you got to go there to get them. And we're looking for someone who's actually going to come and either run, walk, roll, anything.
I wish I could come with you. It's at Burnham Park at 31st Street Beach. That's at 3155 South Lakeshore Drive. If you want to get there on your own, register your own. You haven't won the package that Warren is offering for 2 people to join him every single day. We're giving those away through Friday in addition to our other giveaway. I figured just get out of the way because sometimes I'm like, I'll wait till later in the show, and then I forget. So I don't want to do that tonight. But later this week, you don't know. It might be the last hour, folks. You don't know. We're going to switch it up. How are you doing, Warren?
I'm doing really well. I feel good, and I'm just having a great day.
I went for a hike in the woods to clear my head a little bit today. That's
great.
That's where you caught me. I was over by Air, walking by the North Branch of the Chicago River. But I wish I could join you on Sunday. Again, that Sunday, September 14th, sponsored by Banner Wholesale Foods. Yep, this Sunday. Yep. It's Run for the Parks. You can go to chicagoparksfoundation.org/run, and then a whole bunch of other words, but it'll come up when you Google it and stuff.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Warren.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, you have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Let's get to Nancy. Hi, Nancy. It's been a minute. How have you been?
Been a while.
Yeah.
I've been okay considering.
Mm-hmm.
We did
Same.
have to cut back I'm sorry, but it was for my own personal health.
Yeah.
I had to cut back on a lot of stuff.
I don't blame you, my friend. Believe me. It's been a lot.
Yes, more than a lot. And because, well, in my opinion, it's because these guys still don't know how to fight this
I know.
inhuman of garbage. Anyway, first I wanted to thank you. I finally listened to Marie Newman's Substack yesterday with you.
Uh-huh.
I loved it. It was so great. You're the only two people I hear saying what I'm saying. You're in my head.
I know.
I'm like, when are they going to step up and start fighting for us? So that's the reason the majority never wins.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody fighting for us.
No, I think Bernie and AOC, but I don't feel the sort of groundswell. I don't feel like someone's leading the charge as much as they're. I mean, having rallies is one thing. Well, every single day I want them to be in front of camera, even if it's their own camera. I want to know that there's a plan. I don't get a sense of what their plan is.
But here's the problem: they weren't fighting for us 40 and 50 years ago. They didn't fight for us when Reagan came in and destroyed everything.
Right.
They started with the educational system. Do you know the name Bill Bennett? He screwed up everything, thanks to Reagan putting him in there. And he's the one who has that famous quote. I think you could look it up because I'm not exactly sure how it goes. Something to do if you want to stop abortions. No, it wasn't that. If you want to have a higher education rate, you should abort all black babies.
Oh, my God.
Something to that. Yes, honest to God. When I heard that, and I heard it on Tom Hartman's show, so I'm thinking it's accurate. And you look it up, please, because I couldn't believe I stood here with my mouth open when, I heard that.
As anyone reading this paper should know, former Reagan administration Secretary of Education Bill Bennett said on September 28, 2005, that aborting every black baby in this country would make the crime rate go down.
That's it, the crime.
I almost swore in the air.
Right.
Wow. All right.
And that's the second thing. You know what else they took from us? They followed Hitler's steps completely. They destroy the education system, and then they take over the media. And that's why I wish people would quit calling it mainstream media. It's not. It is corporate-owned media. Look at CBS.
This is so gross.
Look at everything. Look at everything. Joan was talking about how they should have the morning shows, the Sunday morning shows live,
right? Because
then they could confront it. No, if they tape them, they should be more accurate.
Yes,
that's the problem.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
because if they have their questions in front of them, they should know what the answer should be. And as soon as someone says the wrong answer and lies, which is all of them, then they should say, hey, no, wait a minute. The problem is they're corporate owned. Yep. They're not going to do it.
No, here's what I would do. That's why we have John Oliver, I guess, or The Daily Show. But if I was and here's the thing, if you did it this way, where you taped it and then later you stop the interview, go, this is where they lied. They lied here. This wasn't true.
Right.
Here's another lie. I'm just saying. But I have to run to the break, my friend. Oh, Nancy, it's so good to hear from you again.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your passion. And I know that your rage is justified and righteous. So thank you.
I know. I'm going to look into volunteering for Marie Newman.
There you go. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Before we go to the break, I want to thank our sponsors, Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Find out if it's possible to put solar panels on your house or business. There are some incentives that will expire this year, and all of them will be gone by next year because, Trump. At any rate, go to source.solar and learn more. We also want to thank our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. I shared some of the single origin beans with Lady B, and hopefully she'll let us know at some point when she's had a chance to enjoy them because they are my favorite coffee. I go to bed excited excited to go. I'm excited to go to bed because I know when I wake up, I'm having Pride Coffee Roasters fresh from my coffee pot. So I'm going to do the French press. I love it. PrideCoffeeRoasters.com. For a limited time, they have 10% off your entire order. Drive home 10 in the promo code. Also, thank you to Minocqua Brewing Company. Please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Consider signing up for their newsletter. You'll hear and read a lot of the work that I do every single week, and as well as Ben Cominos and Kirk Bankstead and guest featured columnists as well. That's MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. More in a moment on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150.
Tonight on Democracy Now!
As the White House faces growing calls to release the Epstein files, we'll look at a major New York Times expose about how America's largest bank enabled Epstein's crimes and profited from him while ignoring major red flags. Then to Trump's threats to wage war on Chicago.
All those stories and more tonight at 10 on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. During the Civil War, 11% of the Confederate Army was made up of enslaved men forced to join. One of these men was Robert Smalls. Smalls was a deckhand on the Confederate supply ship known as the Planter. During his time, Smalls learned as much as he could about navigating the ship so he and others could escape. And on May 13th of 1862, while officers were sleeping, Smalls, along with 16 others, took the Planter out of the Charleston harbor, navigating through all 5 checkpoints while heading to open waters looking for the Union blockade. Smalls raised a white flag of surrender, letting Union soldiers board the ship, giving them guns, ammo, and documents about planned Confederate attacks. Being a wealth of information, Smalls was given the role of the Union Navy captain. Stories like Smalls are one of the many factors convincing President Lincoln to allow free African Americans to serve in the Union Army. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our conversations here on Driving It Home, WCPT 820, and also broadcast on KKNW 1150. I know that all of us had such a great summer, to the best of our abilities. And June is traditionally what we think of as in Pride, but I love that there's so many organizations throughout the country that continue to highlight and uplift our communities. And I want to talk to Cristi Kennedy of the Naper Pride Fest taking place this Saturday. Hey, Cristi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Patti. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course. And this is what I love, is that this is like an extenuation because it's still beautiful out. We should still be gathering, and we should still be supporting our communities that are the targets of so many people who are not very kind. So tell us about your organization. How long have you guys been around?
Yeah, so Naper Pride, very humble beginnings many years ago. We've continued to grow and grow and grow. This will be our 4th year doing Pride Fest. You're right, it is a little bit different that we do it in September. We find that there are so many great events for Pride in June that rather than trying to compete with all the other things going on, we really like to take a step back, enjoy everything else in June, and then in Pride or in September when we still have that beautiful weather, then that's when we're going to celebrate.
That's fantastic. So what can folks expect from Naper Pride Fest 2025?
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. So we have a ton of great acts. We have Sparks Fly, a Taylor Swift experience. I know a lot of people are really excited for that one. She is a fantastic show. We have Crocodile Rockstar and Elton John tribute band. We have the Cheryl Rohde Band. We have Beyond the Blonde, One Foot in the Groove, Miles Barnes. We have a total of over 78 vendors this year, and it's a really great mix of local artists, crafters, merchant vendors, health and resource vendors, a lot of great food, a lot of great drinks, some entertainment, some activities. It will be a fantastic time. And this is all for $10 a ticket when you buy online.
Oh, that's fantastic. And tell us a little bit about the work that you guys do with the supports and your mission at Naper Pride.
Absolutely. So while Pride Fest is a great opportunity to come together, all in this voice of inclusion and love and just have a lot of fun. This is actually a fundraiser. So Naper Pride does a lot of great stuff for the community. In particular, we have this long-term goal of building a community center where we'll have referrals, meeting spaces, drop-in spaces, and other programs for the community. But we also already do a lot. We have an annual health and resource fair. We do Naper Pride, Naper Cares, where we reach out to support neighbors in need. We provide services, resources, holiday meals, housing needs, assistance. We have our senior services, where we have senior resources and social supports. We do senior coffee meetups, transportation assistance, and health navigators. So what we raise through Pride Fest is not only a lot of fun, but it's going to a lot of good causes.
And for folks who want to buy tickets, it's cheaper to do it online, right?
It is. So if you go to our website, naperpride.org, you can get $10 a ticket. If you buy at the door, it's $15 a ticket. It is also free for children 10 and under.
Okay.
So this is a really inexpensive way to have a full day of fun. We're going from noon until 10 p.m.
Oh, that's so much fun. And then tell folks about the location. This looks like a pretty big park that they're going to be able to celebrate in.
Yes, we have the most amazing location. This is our fourth year. We're doing this at Naper Settlement for our fourth year. It is a beautiful venue. It's all enclosed, so it's a really safe setting. We have our Naperville Police Department there as well, working on security. We have 2 gates that are open. Inside, it just could not be more picturesque. We have a big, beautiful lawn where the stage is. All of our vendors will be under the tree line, so even if it turns out to be a really hot day, as it has in the past, we're going to have a lot of shade. But I also think we're going to have some really gorgeous weather this weekend. I'm excited.
Oh my, that sounds amazing. I love that. And what can folks do? Like, what else can they do to support your organization or join? You know, tell us a little bit about the ways in which they can participate.
Yeah, so we always love to have more volunteers. In fact, we have a ton of volunteers each year for our Pride Fest, and our volunteers are absolute gold. We treasure them so much. So if someone comes this year and they have a blast at Pride Fest, I absolutely recommend checking our website and volunteering. We have a volunteer form you can fill out. Also, all throughout the year, especially if they enjoy working with seniors, we have a lot of opportunities for volunteering with our senior services program.
That's fantastic. And what would you like to tell our audience about the sort of energy right now in the community as we see what's happening federally? It seems like now more than ever we should be showing up for each other, right?
Right. I think that weighs heavily on a lot of us. I'm sure all your listeners agree that right now the sense of anger and hate almost feels palpable, right? Mm-hmm. There's scary times, but this is a really great opportunity to show up and in one voice, tell the world that we here in Naperville, we support love and inclusion, and we're all about coming together as a community, not trying to divide and knock each other down.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, where people want those kinds of spaces. So you don't have to be necessarily, you can be an ally, right? I mean, I think people think right? I think we need to make sure that folks know, if you want to be in spaces where people are both doing the work and need the support, show up, right?
Yeah, I promise we don't check your gay card at the door. All are welcome. So
I have not renewed my gay card. Is there an expiration date?
Yeah, I have lots of friends who are allies. Yeah, yes. Lots of allies to the community will be showing up. A lot of people coming out, like I said, all in one voice saying, hey, we're for love and inclusion. Also, we're for having a good time. We want to listen to bands. We want to shop the vendors. This is just a beautiful day to have fun and come together as a community.
Well, there's some of our favorite companies are out in Naperville. I'm a big fan of Sam's Salsa out there. And I don't know if you've ever tried Go Brewing, which is non-alcoholic brewing, but they're amazing. They
are.
I don't know if they're a sponsor. Do you want to tell us about some of the sponsors that you have coming to Naper Pride so we can uplift them as well?
Oh, man, I should have gotten a better list of the sponsors.
That's okay.
I wasn't in charge of sponsorships this year.
Let me see if I can find anything on your Naper Pride Fest page, because I know that it's just really helpful when organizations are willing to show up at a time when so many other groups and electeds are not just turning their backs, but are being openly hostile. There's a good site called Goods Unite Us, Cristi, where you can find out.
I love that site.
Isn't that amazing? That's how I do my shopping now. I go to goodsuniteus.com, by the way, folks. But
more than ever, I'm realizing how I spend my money is a big part of what is being supported. Like, that's how I can not just vote, but I can spend my money on organizations that I know stand for the same values that I do.
Yeah, my husband, for a long time, he's a dad, so God bless him, but he wears a pair of dad shoes that has the letter N on the side, and that company does 100% pretty much donate to Republicans, and now he calls them the Nazi shoes, and he can't wear them anymore. That's my words, not anybody else's. That does not reflect the opinions of the station, but they're not.
We have to be mindful of what our money is supporting. So,
exactly.
And what better way than to come out on a Saturday and spend your money at local vendors who are supportive of the community.
I love it. Folks, it's naperpride.org. You'll see the tab at the top for events, and you go right to Naper Pride Fest 2025. That's this Saturday, September 13th, from noon to 10 p.m. So you've got a great day of being outside. You guys, it's going to be gorgeous. This is it. This is, we don't know how much longer we have for great weather, so take advantage and join community. Sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Cristi. Please don't hesitate to reach out for other events you have coming up, okay?
All right. Thank you so much, Patti.
Our pleasure. Have a great night. Have a great event.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. We'll have another conversation in just a moment. We have coming up on the line with us is going to be a candidate for the Illinois 8th District, currently being held by Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. We're going to be joined by Junaid Ahmed in a moment on WCBT 820 and KKNW 1150.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 61 degrees. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 77. Thursday, sunny and a high temperature of 76. Friday, sunny with a high of 81. Saturday, a slight chance of thunderstorms and a high of 87. And for Sunday, we'll see a chance of storms with a high of 80. Monday, lots of sun and a high temperature of 79 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 75.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter. Think Theory Radio.
We enter this world of hyper-reality. In case you didn't know, hyper-reality is the inability of consciousness to distinguish reality from a simulation of reality, especially in technologically advanced societies. The action of hyper-reality is to desire reality in an attempt to achieve that desire to fabricate a false reality that is to be consumed as real.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
Check Up on Health with Chris Whitting.
About 38 million of us suffer with foot pain. Dr. Ronald Jensen of the American Podiatric Medicine Association says it's not supposed to be that way, especially that nagging heel pain.
Plantar fasciitis is a ligament that becomes inflamed in the arch that runs from underneath the heel out to the ball of the foot. And each time you step, there's a large amount of stress that's placed on that ligament. It's rare that you get a plantar fasciitis that's caused by a singular injury. It's more of a repetitive type injury, so it would be related to your new exercise program, to your running, or even just daily household activities. It's important to realize that as that occurs, that you need to reduce your activity a little bit, give it a chance to rest, and if that pain doesn't significantly improve in 1 to 2 weeks, then it's time to seek the help of your local podiatrist.
The treatment is fairly simple. Rest, oral medication, perhaps taping the foot, or shoe inserts. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez. Where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Full disclosure, everybody, election season is something that gets me really excited. Although it's always election season. We're always talking to someone somewhere who's running for something. So I love talking to candidates and learning about why they decided to run, what their background is, and what their plans are for their community. Joining us on the air right now, running for Congress in Illinois' 8th District, currently held by Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, is Junaid Ahmed. Hi, Junaid. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you, Patti.
Thank you so much. First of all, tell us a little about yourself. Where did you grow up, my friend?
I was born in India, and my journey to this, starts like so many American stories. My dad came to this country. We joined him later. I came here as a teenager, and, Dad worked day and night. So that's where I grew up in India. I came here as a teenager.
And what drove your parents to choose Chicago? Because, my mom's from Mexico, and I've asked her, and there used to be this sort of sometimes it was, communities, people came here first, and then cousins of cousins, or, relatives, or it's just someplace someone saw on TV and it sounded great. Where does your family story choose? Why do they choose Chicago?
My dad chose Chicago because he had family here. He had cousins. My uncle lived here, and I think back in the day there were good factory jobs in Chicago. Maybe that was one of the reasons.
Yes.
So yeah, good jobs.
Yes, good jobs. That'll do it every time. And growing up, did you watch any politics? Was your family tuned in to what was going on either locally or in the state or nationally when it came to who was in office?
Yes, absolutely. I think I would say my family, just about everyone, as they get to voting age, just about 100% voting participation. So very much tuned in. But keep in mind, as a migrant, my dad was working 2 jobs a day, many times, not always, but, we're just working hard. And so that was taking a whole lot of his life, right? But that did not take him away from being connected to the society, giving back to the community. And that's who my dad was, and those are the values that he instilled in us, but very much plugged into the local politics, yes.
And did you ever see yourself as being somebody who might someday run for office, much less a congressional office? No.
I mean, you'd be no. I never, until I was nominated to run by a group here, I never ever thought that I'd run for any office, leave alone a congressional office.
And what will you pursue? What is your stock and trade? What kind of work do you do, my friend? What did you pursue after college? Because I'm sure your parents made you go to college.
Yes. No, I started off at a community college, Truman College in Chicago. I transferred to DePaul. I worked at Accenture in tech consulting, and eventually went back 7 years later, earned my MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And pretty much today, I run my own tech consulting firm. That's what I do for a living. That's what pays the bills.
That's fantastic. I love that story, from community college to University of Chicago. That's outstanding. So congratulations. And are your parents proud?
Oh, my God. I tell you that. Look, watching my dad work, 2 jobs, coming back. I mean, when he used to come back, and little did we know how tired he was. He would come back sometimes from his work at 7 a.m. We'd be already asking him to take us somewhere. He would never complain. My mom and dad, honestly, I don't know if you remember that old Chevy Caprices? My dad had like a 1988 Chevy Caprice with a bench seat. All 6 of us would kind of get in there. My dad, not once complained. And you know what? Both my parents have passed away. Every time I honor their sacrifice. And, they worked hard. What they did to bring us up to here, only they know. But let me tell you one thing. I was determined to honor that sacrifice, and I worked hard. Just my journey from community college to MBA, that all starts with that. Kudos to my dad and my mom, and we're here.
Oh, I love that so much. And how many siblings do you have?
So, including myself, we are 6. I'm the youngest of the pack.
That's what I thought. Oh, you're the baby. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What kind of trouble did you cause growing up?
Oh, you know what? I had 3 elder brothers. I think I was well protected.
That's wonderful. And are they, is your family, do your siblings still live in the area?
Yes, my entire extended family, at least my brothers and sisters, We are within the 27-mile radius from north to south. It used to be 12 miles. Now it's close to 30.
Who screwed that up? Who moved farther away?
I moved to north. I moved up north because I moved because when I ran in 2022, the district lines changed, and I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'll move into the district.
Oh, look at you. Okay, so let's talk about this then. So you ran 22 for the same seat. Which seat were you running for in 2022?
Same seat, big 8th Congressional District.
Okay, and you mentioned that somebody had they wanted you to run. You were recruited by a group or by folks who were like, you'd be great in office. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
I was part of Schaumburg area progressives. And when they saw that they wanted to see some sanity, some action, they wanted a candidate who would say the corporate PAC money. And they were recruiting for candidates. And when things, they were not finding anybody, then they said, hey, we don't have a candidate. If we need someone, Junaid, it's got to be you. I'm like, dude, do you realize I've never run for office before? I'm an activist, yes. I'm part of multiple relief organizations, yes. But that's what I do. That's what my parents said. That's what, I saw them doing. That's what I do. Running for office, not my thing. But you know what? It took us 4 to 6 months. But I went back to my wife. I was like, hey, this is what they're saying, and we both laughed together. But you know what? We I think in hindsight made an amazing choice. I think because I'm part of an organization here where we take food to the unhoused here, right? And we started off at my friend's truck, and started off at the height of the pandemic, taking 50 meals with the humble goal. This year we have exceeded 1 million more meals.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and
tell folks about this. Tell them about Shy Care.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shy Care it is, yes. So Shy Care at the peak of the pandemic, there were many unhoused. I was both Farhan and I. We were part of other relief work, but then we realized during the pandemic that our unhoused neighbors were not getting warm meals. Anything that they were getting was, but the restaurants were impacted. Everything was impacted, right? So we said, okay, why don't we do this? With his car, he brought his car, and we just loaded some warm meals. Took them to the people. And then that kind of kept growing. And, people started volunteering, people started donating. And here we are. This year we did over 1 million, and also now Farhan is at the forefront of this. Launched a mobile clinic as well last month. So things, that's. But my point there was, we're starting with this, right? Helping the less fortunate. But then I can do it. My kids can do it. My dad did it. Mm-hmm. But then unless and until policy changes, you're not going to get big time changes, and that's where I think this race comes about.
And let's talk about that next. We're talking to Junaid Ahmed, who's running for Congress in Illinois' 8th District. You may know that as the seat now held by Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. So tell us what you have in mind, seeing what's going on federally, how you'd go in there with sleeves rolled up, because we are looking for leaders, my friend. So tell us what your plans are.
Look, I'll just go back. My dad is an integral part of my life here. So every time I talk anything, that's going to be with him. So I'm living his dream, the American dream that he dreamt for us. And that dream is under attack right now. Donald Trump is tearing apart our government. And that too, just to give wealthy a tax break, he's cutting Medicaid, food assistance, and making everything more expensive. We need to send a progressive fighter. You're right. Somebody who is going to roll up the sleeves and hold him accountable. I am running to fight back and then push forward to make life more affordable. I mean, literally, for people like working families of our district, just like how my parents did it. I mean, that's just precisely what I'm trying to do, is make things affordable for people and fight back for what's going on.
I love that. And I love what you said, fight back and push forward, because I think that's what people want. They want to know what the plan is. What do you see? Because for me, one of the crises of my generation is healthcare. Do you have something like, is it affordable housing? Is it, you mentioned serving people who can't afford food. Is it poverty? What are some of your focus elements to your race?
Look, I've spoken to hundreds of families in the last few weeks here. And one thing is people want someone who's going to fight back, and people just want to make life affordable, right? and we need to just do that. The government's job is to make life affordable for working families. What does that mean? That means affordable health care for everyone, affordable child care, universal preschool, quality public education, and eliminating student loan debt. I mean, I and my wife know, how many years we spent, just paying off her college debt and my college debt at times, and that needs to be eliminated because we also need to bring jobs back into our district, raise the minimum wage, basic things, right? There is just so that people don't live in poverty. But before we can do any of that, we must fight back. We have to fight back against Donald Trump and his attacks on working families here.
Well, tell folks how they can get involved in your race and what you're going to need to win.
Look, what we need is people to come out, volunteer with us. We have a very strong field program already. We are talking to voters where they are. I am spending a whole lot of time knocking doors. We have got a strong field program. How people can help? They can come help us knock doors. They can come help making phone calls, text banking when the time comes. A little bit of donation here and there, right? And just being out there, talking to people, being this voice, and kind of building on the movement that we have already created.
Outstanding, and thank you for taking on the challenge and the call, hearing the call to serve. Again, we've been talking to Junaid Ahmed, who's running for Congress in Illinois' 8th District, currently held by Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. That's Junaid for us.com, JunaidForUs.com, Junaid. Call us back. Reach out again and let us know how the campaign is going. Okay, my friend, go get them.
Thank you, Patty.
Yep, a pleasure talking to you.
Take care, pleasure talking.
Thank you. Man, I'm excited about the candidates, folks. We got some people who mean it. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, Washington.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Parkinson's disease is a cruel neurodegenerative disorder that affects more than 1 million people here in the United States alone. Scientists still aren't sure what exactly causes Parkinson's, but they mostly agree it's a combination of genetics and environmental factors. Now, there was this new study carried out by researchers in China using data on people here in the United States, which found a significant amount of Parkinson's prevention may begin at the dinner table. That is this: people who consumed a lot of ultra-processed foods every day were more likely to be diagnosed with the disease. Years before the hallmark symptoms of tremors, stiff muscles, slow gait, changes in posture, you might notice earlier warning signs: pain, constipation, depression, changes in your ability to smell or even see colors. Pay attention to that, because an early diagnosis can make a big difference. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
More fiber and laxatives, eh? Who are you? I'm future you. Future me? Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Our doctor figured it out. It's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
I think I was supposed to play. Am I supposed to play this every day? I keep forgetting to ask Andy this. We also have a voicemail where you can leave a message if you don't like calling during the show. So let me do this real quick.
Powerful, accountable. Leave your message for Patti Vasquez at 773-467-8202 because democracy needs your voice.
I don't feel like I feel like I played too much music on that. Did you get the number on that? Because I know. Should I do it again?
Frustrated with the State of the Union? Let it out. Leave a voicemail for Patti Vasquez at 773-467-8202 and speak your progressive truth.
Did I talk over the because I forget that we have people that don't listen live. So you can call and leave us a message. I don't know what that number was. But you can call and leave a message when we're not live, because I know we have folks that are listening. I'm getting messages from people like in Idaho, in Massachusetts, in California. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening. Yeah, people are tuning in. Some of them are joining us because of the columns I write. I write a column every Monday from MinocquaBrewingCompany.com, and we're going to be partnering with them to take our show live. I don't know if I should talk about this yet. At any rate, we're doing stuff. We're working on it, folks. But thank you to everyone who listens. And you can listen to all these shows. If you're listening live now and you're like, I can't listen. I'm too stressed right now. I want to catch up. I want to see what happened. I want to catch up later. But you can also listen, rate, and share this show. Driving at Home, full episodes, and featured interview podcasts are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, YouTube, and Amazon Music. All those places. All the places you get your podcasts. So you can search for Driving at Home with Patti Vasquez. You can also get the links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com, and you can click on my picture. That picture is from when I ran for office, folks. So that's why I get so excited. I know what these months are like, getting signatures on petitions. I think, that was what we had. We had a listener who texted from Idaho, and they were asking about what happens when you sign a petition. What good does that do? And it depends. Go to the website. If you're not sure what you're signing, or go to the website. They'll have it right there on the sheet. Go to their website, see what they're all about, see what they're trying to accomplish. A lot of times what they're doing is trying to get a legislator signed on to policy, to a piece of legislation. And when you sign it, your information will be sent to the elected in your community, whether it's your state senator, whatever district you're in, and then you'll get an email from that. So you'll know that your signature was counted, that your information was entered into a database. And if that's what you want to do, if you want your legislator to know what's important to you, signing those petitions means that they get that information, and you should receive an email that says, hey, we saw that you're interested in services for people with disabilities. We saw that you're interested in childcare. We saw that you want us to, do this kind of work. So often that's what your signature will do on some petitions. If you're signing on something to be a witness, those kinds of things. The other element is sometimes they're trying to just show if it's a signature for a candidate. Candidates in different parts of the country, there are different there's different guidelines or different necessary elements to a campaign. For instance, when I ran for state rep in 2020, I needed to gather 500 signatures from my community for a district that has 110,000 registered voters. You need 500 to basically qualify to be on the petition, on the ballot. Mine was for a primary first. I was running against a Democrat who had been appointed. That's a story for another day. Some of you know it. But at any rate, so you sign those petitions so they can get on the ballot. And I would say this. And check for the rules, the laws in your area. But I would say sign everyone's petition to get on the ballot. Unless you just don't like signing anything, you don't want your name involved. If you're a registered voter, it's basically saying everyone deserves to be on the ballot. Look, if it's, a conservative, some places have it where you need to sign the petition based on what party you're going to vote for. Again, I'm not sure what it's like in other parts of the country, but I believe in everyone having the opportunity to run for office and then make their argument in the campaign. So that's one thing. At any rate, just want to give you a little bit of insight on that. We have not talked about, there's so many things that happen so quickly. I do want to talk about the jobs numbers because, in July, was it July or August when Donald Trump fired the labor statistician who said that with a revised number that it was worse than previously reported. And everyone said she was manipulating the numbers, that she was a liar, all these just... At any rate, just making things up, as it turns out, because the U.S. economy is worse than thought, with 1.2 million fewer jobs. And so job growth has tanked. The economy is wobbling. And now the Federal Reserve has a lot of pressure to lower interest rates. And so we'll see what's going to happen there because, of course, Trump he's wanted that for a while. So maybe that was how he forces Jerome Powell to lower the interest rates. It's just crazy making. And there are studies out there. There are people that are doing the investigative journalism to show you where money is going, how the wealthy are taking advantage of this erratic economy and policies. When Donald Trump says there's going to be a tariff on Tuesday, and then certain stocks start tanking, but he changes his mind, and then their stocks go up. There are people online, and I'm not savvy enough. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around how so many of these moving parts work. But there are people who are tracking what his announcements are doing to the economy, because he's done this, and this isn't the first time. He did this in his first administration. Do you remember? Let's take, for example, Boeing. He said something negative about Boeing. Their stock started tanking. They made a deal on a plane. It is always to benefit the wealthy and powerful. And we are fighting each other. And believe me, I lean into these fights because the people that I'm arguing with, I'm not going to back off protecting the rights and freedoms of people of color, of people who want to express themselves the way they see and feel themselves to be, people who want to have autonomy over their own health care. I'm going to fight racism, intolerance. I'm going to fight those who are on the side of billionaires and hoarding the wealth, who think that poverty is a choice, that it's bad mistakes or karma. I mean, basically, these folks seem to think that people who are poor did something wrong, and so now karma is biting them in the ass. Really, these are all just a huge, dumb group of superstitious idiots. I don't know. Is that too much, Lady B? Was that? I don't know what to say to these folks. I really don't. I don't have the right microphone up tonight. I've screwed that up. Oh, by the way, I want to let folks know in the second hour, I am going to give away another registration for the Banner Foods 5K run, walk, or roll at Burnham Park this Sunday. That's thanks to our friend Warren Price, who has donated those tickets. But that's coming up in the 6 o'clock. We have some great guests coming up in just a little bit. We are going to talk to our friend. We have a new friend that we're going to talk to. We have coming up at 6:30. You guys who listen to the show regularly might know. Okay, most of you know. I have fallen madly and deeply in love with New Orleans, and I have enjoyed visiting multiple times. I'll be back there next month. I'm going for my friend's wedding, which is happening on the Day of the Dead. And so I'm going for Halloween to New Orleans. What? Vampires and ghosts and ghouls. Oh my. And so that's going to be anyway, that's what I'm doing in October. But tonight we are going to talk to someone who is a warrior for education in New Orleans. We're going to talk to Ashana Bigard, who's the CEO of Amplify Justice, and she's an advocate with the Education Justice Project of New Orleans. I really recommend that if you have the opportunity, as we reflect on the horrors, the tragedy, the catastrophe of Katrina, please check out some of the great documentaries that are out there. And I'll ask Ashana if she has any, if she's watched. I can't imagine watching any of that if I lived through it. So I suspect that she doesn't. But I've seen the ones on Netflix, on Hulu. An older from when a couple of years after it happened, When the Levees Broke, is fantastic by Spike Lee. Hulu does have both Hulu and Netflix have really strong documentaries looking back 20 years, because it also gives you an idea of where people are. And some people's homes are very close to how they looked after the devastation of Katrina in 2005. They've been trying. They go back, they try to rebuild, and it's heartbreaking. So we're talking to Ashana at 6:30, and coming up in just a few moments, we are going to talk to Washington Monthly's Paul Glastris in just a moment. We're going to talk to him on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150. Thanks for hanging out.
Still struggling with gas, bloat, constipation, nausea, or diarrhea? Have you tried eliminating foods but felt no change? It's time to call the tummy whisperer, Renee Barish at Digestive Health Solutions. Renee uses targeted testing to reveal exactly what's happening in your gut. Gut bacteria plays a key role in all your body functions, from cardiovascular regulation to brain function. When the gut is imbalanced, you may experience symptoms that extend beyond the gut, such as anxiety, skin issues, poor sleep, or increased risk for disease. Digestive Health Solution uses advanced testing to identify harmful microbes and evaluate the overall balance of the gut ecosystem. Get insights into your health, digestion, and how your microbiome affects all aspects of your body. Stop suffering. Call Renee now at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That number is 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better. The Tummy Whisperer.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Israel targeted Hamas's leadership with a strike in Qatar today.
Israel acted wholly independently.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wholly independently. And we take full responsibility for this action. And this action can open the door to an end of the war.
Hamas says its top leaders survived the strike, but 5 lower-level members were killed. At the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The president made his thoughts and concerns about this very clear, and he spoke again both to Prime Minister Netanyahu and also the Emir and the Prime Minister of Qatar after this attack.
In eastern Ukraine, officials say a Russian glide bomb struck a village as people stood in line to collect their monthly pension. At least 24 killed. The UN estimates more than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians have been killed in the 3-year war. The Missouri House has passed a plan to redraw the state's congressional map. It could give Republicans a shot at winning almost all of the state's U.S. House seats. Annette Donahue reports California Governor Gavin Newsom targeted President Trump in his State of the State address.
The Democrat did not deliver a speech. He sent state lawmakers a letter saying President Trump has a relentless, unhinged obsession with California. The letter criticized the president and his policies for bringing chaos and disruption to the state. The president sent in the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles after his hardline immigration strategy set off protests. Newsom is seen as a potential presidential candidate in 2028. California Republicans, like Assemblyman James Gallagher, say Newsom is prioritizing building his national profile instead of working on issues in California.
Stop the insults. Stop refusing to show up and actually do the work of being a governor. Otherwise, get out.
Gallagher also criticized Newsom's push to counter Republicans in Texas with a new House congressional map to help California Democrats win more seats and potentially gain control of the House ahead of the 2026 midterms. I'm Ed Donahue.
This is AP News. The NFL's Week 1 is complete with last night's 27-24 Vikings victory over the Chicago Bears. But a newish problem's cropped up: spitting. Gethin Coolbaugh has the latest.
I've made a promise to them boys. It won't happen again.
Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles has been fined $57,222 after spitting on Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, an AP source says. The incident took place in the opening moments of last Thursday's NFL season opener in Philadelphia. Carter was ejected from the game.
I don't got nothing to say about it, I'm just trying to make sure the team's straight.
The defending Super Bowl champion Eagles went on to win 24-20 after unveiling their second championship banner in a pregame ceremony. The 24-year-old and one-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle was selected number 9 overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 61 degrees. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 77. Thursday, sunny and a high temperature of 76. Friday, sunny with a high of 81. Saturday, a slight chance of thunderstorms and a high of 87. And for Sunday, we'll see a chance of storms with a high of 80. Monday, lots of sun and a high temperature of 79 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 75.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. During Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, and now even, he had his rallies where he poorly danced to the YMCA. Let's take a look at all the musicians who threatened to sue Donald Trump if he used any of their music at his rallies. ABBA, Adele, Aerosmith, Andrew Lloyd Webber, The Animals, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, Celine Dion, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Earth, Wind & Fire, Elton John, The Foo Fighters, Free, Guns N' Roses, Linkin Park, Neil Young, Nickelback, Olivia Rodrigo, Ozzy Osbourne, Panic at the Disco, Pharrell Williams, Phil Collins, and yes, that includes Genesis too, guys, The Estate of Prince, Queen, R.E.M., Rihanna, The Rolling Stones, Spinal Tap, Tom Petty, and Twisted Sister. So if you're looking to buy some records or go see a concert, I consider checking those artists out. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. We want to say hello to our friends tuning in the evenings on KKNW 1150, the alternative voice of Seattle, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Of course, joining us here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal in Chicago. And thank you to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. For a limited time, they have a 10% off deal for you when you type in Drive Home 10 when you check out for your promo code. And we also encourage you to try out, they have a bean subscription, so every month you'll get something new and exclusive. But they'll also be at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market this Sunday. Go to their website to find out what markets they might be near you in the Chicagoland area. And of course, those of you living outside the Chicagoland area, you can have it delivered. So please check them out. We also want to thank our friends at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. That's MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Please consider signing up for their newsletter. You'll catch pieces of work that I do, that Bren Cominos, Kirk Bankstead. We share our insights into what's going on based on the news of the day. And of course, this week I wrote about RFK Jr. because I figured I've covered the impending and now present ICE agents and military threats in our streets in Chicago. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment, and talk to Peter Sorellis about the possibility of getting solar panels on your house or business, as incentives will be running out in the very near future. So I want to get to our guests because they're on hold, patiently waiting. Oh, how did that happen? Steve Goody. I don't know how Steve Goody popped up there. I meant to put pot up. Our friend Paul Glastris. Am I saying your name correctly, Paul?
Yes, you absolutely are.
It's a lot today going on, and so I'm grateful to change gears a little bit. Paul Glastris is the editor-in-chief of the Washington Monthly, a senior fellow at the Western Policy Center in Washington, D.C., and former chief speechwriter for President Bill Clinton. Holy cats, that's a lot going on. And well, first of all, let me ask you, because I know we're going to talk about the 2025 college rankings, your 20th annual college rankings. But where did you go to college, my friend?
Well, isn't that a good question? I am a proud graduate of Northwestern University in Chicago.
Hey!
And I have two brothers living in Chicago. I spent many a year there and love the city, know the city well. I was the U.S. News Midwest Bureau Chief in Chicago during the 80s and 90s. And so you are broadcasting from sort of my hometown. I
love that. Hey, anybody who loves Chicago can call Chicago their hometown. I'm not one of those. I used to be one of those people who, when someone said, they're from Chicago, and I say where, and they would say, Downers Grove, I'm like, but I don't do that anymore.
I'm going to confess, I'm actually from St. Louis.
Oh boy. And
I'm a Cardinals fan.
Oh, okay.
So
that's fine.
That might kind of undermine the whole thing, but that just total transparency.
Look, baseball is universal, and I love that you've got a team. And as much as I love my Cubs, I just love baseball in general. I love the history of it. I love the feel of it. What led you, first of all, to pursue a career in journalism?
I went to the University of Missouri, where I grew up, and then Northwestern, and those are two of the three best J schools in the country, journalism schools. But I only pursued journalism after college. I didn't, wasn't one of those people that worked for the college paper, and I just wanted to get involved in the history of my times and write, and journalism was the thing that would pay my wage, so I became a journalist.
That's wild that you say it that way, because, man, to be living in a history of our times, I can't imagine that you would have been able to foretell what's happening now. What was your experience writing as a speechwriter for Bill Clinton?
Oh, it was great. He's a fantastic person. He's as brilliant and charismatic as everyone says he is. He's also quite kind, and it was the greatest experience of my life, honestly. Humbling, because he would often deliver 50% of what I wrote and wing the rest, and often the winging was better than what I wrote. But it was heady and fantastic and hard work, and I had 2 kids at the time, and I was kind of an absent parent. But
hey,
it was great.
Well, hey, fighting for democracy at all, at least I think your kids probably are okay with it. I hope. I can't speak for them.
They survived it.
I have to say, when you mentioned that what he would say off the cuff was stronger than what you wrote, nobody who goes off the cuff can do that without a strong foundation of writers like yourself. Just so you know.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to think that. And when the thing that he needed to say was what the speechwriters and the senior staff said he needed to say, he stuck to the script. So,
there you go.
That more than you can say for Donald Trump.
And so what led you to the Washington Monthly? Tell us a little bit about this publication.
The Washington Monthly is a 56-year-old, small but potent and impactful magazine of politics and policy. And, if you read the New Republic or the Nation or the Mother Jones, or on the right, magazines like American Compass or, Commentary, it's that kind of magazine. We're very focused on public policy and solutions-oriented journalism. We're on the center left, but, we're read by people all over the country with all kinds of ideological leanings.
So your take on and you have a very specific take on the best colleges in the country. So you guys, for your colleges and universities, you want to look for the ones that help students. I'm reading this from the press release. Help students of modest means earn degrees that pay off in the marketplace, don't saddle them with heavy debt, and prepare, indeed encourage them to become active members of our democracy. So tell us about the sort of modules that you use. What's the way you guys approach this issue?
So the best way to understand what we do is to understand what we don't do, right? There are a bunch of college rankings out there, a dozen of them or so. The most important is U.S. News and World Report. They're the dominant player in that marketplace. I used to work for U.S. News. I spent 10 years there. And, they have a ranking that defines what people think is excellence in higher education. And their definition of excellence in higher education is, how many people does a college exclude?
Oh,
right?
Right.
Right? We don't want to let in too many of those lesser people, right? And how much does a college spend, right? The more a college spends, the better it is. And then third, what's its prestige? What do college presidents think of the other college? We think those are really bad values, really bad ways of measuring what is excellent in higher education. And so, having spent some years there and knowing how they put things together, my crew and I created a completely alternative set of metrics. And what we look at is basically what the average American wants from their college, from their investment in college. And by investment, I mean not just the student who's spending his or her tuition dollars, but the taxpayer who is spending their tax dollars. You know, government at every level spends about $500 billion a year supporting higher education. That is, for the average taxpayer, $1,700 a year out of their pocket. So taxpayers have a stake in defining what success in higher education is. And we think a great college is one that does three things. Number one, it helps students of modest means, average, median income, and below students, get ahead in life by providing tuition that's not too costly, that graduates them and doesn't leave them hanging with no degree and a lot of debt, and that provides a degree that means something in the market, that they get an income that lets them enter or at least stay in the middle class or better. So that's number one, upward mobility. Number two, research. Does the college produce the scholarship and scholars that create new technologies, economic growth, and solutions to our big problems? And number three, service. Every college, if you open up their founding documents, says the purpose of the college is to train individuals to be active members of their democracy. And we actually hold the colleges to account for those missions. And so, you know, if you serve in the military, if you serve in community service, if you produce students who go into socially beneficial fields like healthcare and social work, you get extra points in our ranking. And so it's a very different way of defining what success is in college, and it leads to completely different results.
It's amazing because, culturally over the last century, we've all been taught to aim for, the Harvards, everything, like whether it's the Tufts or even Purdue in the Midwest, let's say. There are these sort of like big camp. I went to the University of Illinois. There's a big push here to go to a big campus like that. And we kind of forget. I mean, some people know about the smaller campuses around the country and how they're supported, whether financially or by by alumni, all those different elements. So tell us about some of and I was surprised to find that in your top 5 is one of the schools that people aspire to. When you mention who do they exclude, what you want to know is like how many of these colleges are uplifting the middle class and working families. I was surprised to find Princeton in the top 5.
Yeah, Princeton is number 5 in the top 30. So we have 1,400 colleges. Princeton is number 5. That is that's the highest that the elite schools get. Above Princeton are 4 schools that I'm going to bet most of your listeners have never heard of.
I have not. Tell them about these schools. Oh, we have a minute left. Hold on. Let me take a break here because I want to be able to give you a chance to tell us the list, and I can't even do it where I can break it up and tease people. So do you mind sticking around for another segment?
No, not at all. Love to.
Excellent. We're talking to Paul Glastris, who is the editor-in-chief of the Washington Monthly. You can visit them at washingtonmonthly.com and check out all his work, as well as his entire staff. Right now, we are talking about the 2025 college rankings, their 20th annual college rankings, which will make you change your mind about everything you knew about which colleges are best. More in a moment on WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Corey called to consolidate his debt and was so happy with my advice, he left me this 5-star Google review. Quote, I was looking to pay off debt, so I reached out to David after listening to his radio show. David called me personally and walked me through my options. He shot it straight. There was no beating around the bush or pushing me to sign anything. If any of my family or friends need anything related to a mortgage, I'll give them David's number because you can't get better or more honest service. Thanks, Corey. I strongly encourage everyone to check out our close to 600 5-star Google reviews from listeners like Corey. Team Hochberg helped Corey and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
And you are tuning in for our conversation with Paul Glastris, the editor-in-chief of the Washington Monthly. He's also a senior fellow at the Western Policy Center in Washington, D.C., and former chief speechwriter for President Bill Clinton. We are talking about their 20th annual college rankings. This is different than what you might recognize from the other magazines and other rankings, where this is really focused on which college is supporting working class families, making it affordable, and after school success and becoming citizens of the United States as supporting democracy. I think I was trying to do it without reading it. I'm trying to remember what we talked about there, Paul. But tell us about these 4 other schools, as Princeton is number 5 of the highest of all the elite schools that we all think of when our kids are, when they're babies, and we're like, oh, he's going to do so well at Harvard or Yale or MIT. Tell us about the other 4 that we should know about that we've possibly never heard of.
Yeah, so literally 3 of them are California State University campuses.
Huh.
The number 2 campus is Fresno State. And I was saying before, I'm going to guess 99% of your listeners have never heard of Fresno State. Fresno State is a fabulous, interesting place. It's located right there in Fresno, in the heart of the Central Valley of California, which is pockmarked with pretty significant poverty, right? This is where your lettuce and your broccoli and your grapes are grown. These are where migrant farm workers work. And the children of those migrant farm workers go to Fresno State. Fresno State doesn't charge very high tuition. They accept almost every student. They're not super selective. Those students graduate at higher rates than you would expect, given that they went to, not the best high schools. They don't come from families with a long experience in college. And they go on to jobs that pay better than you would expect, given those demographics. And moreover, when they're at college, they're encouraged to do community service, a lot of ROTC, military service. They graduate into nursing and social work, socially beneficial fields, and they tend to stay around the Central Valley. They don't take their college degrees and then jet off to Seattle or New York or L.A. They build their lives right there in the region. And the president of the university grew up on a farm in the Central Valley, and a lot of the students there wind up managing the agribusinesses where they grew up picking crops, right? So this is upward mobility in its boldest form, right? And that's the number 2 school. The number 1 school is even more incredible.
And what is that?
Again, I'm going to bet you've never heard of the school, and neither of most of your listeners. Berea College.
Berea?
In Berea, Kentucky.
Berea.
Berea, Berea College in Berea. It was started in 1855 by abolitionists who created the first college in the South that educated both blacks and whites, and the first college that also educated women. And in the 1890s, they made a pledge that they would try to make college tuition free. And today, 99% of the students at Berea College come from middle and low-income families that qualify for Pell Grants, right? The federal grant that is for modest and low-income families. And the students there pay almost no tuition, have almost no debt. All of them have jobs on the university, jobs that help them get launched in their careers, but that also keep their tuition low. And when they leave, they make $5,000 more a year than you would expect given where they came from.
Wow.
It is just an all-around amazing college, and it's the number 1 ranked on the Washington Monthly Rankings.
How does that school, where does the funding come from? Is it a mixture of alumni from federal and state funding? How does that work out for them?
That is a great question. 3 things. Number 1, I said 99% of the students are on Pell Grants. So Pell Grants from the federal government pay part of it. Number 2, it's a federally designated work college. Colleges get money from the federal government for work study programs. But if you're a work college, you get money for every student to work. So that's part of it, too. The third thing is, for 100 years, Berea has had a campaign of small donor donations from their alumni and others to build an endowment that is now $1.5 billion.
What?
Right? This is a school of like 1,500 students. And instead of using that money to build fancy, climbing walls or lazy rivers, they use all of that money to make the financial aid to their students such that the students pay almost nothing. So that's how they pull it off. It's an amazing, amazing story.
That is why I really am kind of mad at myself. This seems like it should be more prominent in American history in general when you talk about a school.
Right. But you will not find Berea anywhere in the top 50 of any of the other U.S. News or any of the dozen imitators of U.S. News that ran colleges. That's not how they look at the world.
You're right. They look at the world. Well, a lot of it is, rich families sending their. And look, I'm not saying that these schools don't also provide, funding for kids that come from working class families, but those families mostly want them to be around the wealthy people, hoping their kids will also, be in the higher echelons of power and wealth, right? Whereas,
yeah.
Right?
Look, the Ivy League schools do just fine on our rankings. But of the top 30 on our rankings, only half of them are elite schools. The rest are schools like Fresno State and Berea that are, well known in their regions, but utterly unknown to the rest of the country. They're regional public universities. They're open access. They serve everyone. And they do a great job helping normal people, right, get ahead. And, who goes to elite colleges? It is, as you said, it's predominantly, kids who grew up in upper middle class, wealthy families who have been trained since birth to work like dogs to get their SAT scores up so that they can go to these very select schools so they can stay in the upper middle class, the wealthy class. And, more power to them, but that's not where most people are, right? Most 90 able to get into these super selective schools. They need college to get ahead in life. And so our rankings are for that 90%, and U.S. News and the others are for the upper 10%.
And I want to let folks know, for those of us here in Chicago, University of Illinois Chicago is, I believe, is that right, is ranked number 1 for the Midwest?
It absolutely is, and there's a whole write-up about what they used to call Circle. They don't call it Circle Campus anymore, do they?
I don't believe so. No, I haven't heard Circle.
Yeah.
Wow, that's right.
But I'm kind of dating myself because I lived in Chicago in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, University of Illinois Chicago is one of the top colleges on our rankings. We have a whole profile of them, of that campus in a story called 25 Best in Class Colleges. It's a great success story. You can't really find an urban public regional university that does a better job of serving average people and getting them ahead than UIC.
Well, as an alum of UIC's theater department, in a master's program, thank you very much for putting it. Yes,
good for you.
I should probably let them know that.
Yeah, let them know about our story because they're great. I love UIC. I was literally poking around there during the convention.
Yeah.
I was trying to try to see if I could get a free parking in their garage, but that didn't work out.
That's so funny. Well, I would love to talk to you again sometime. Again, we've been talking to Paul Glastris, the editor-in-chief of the Washington Monthly. Go to WashingtonMonthly.com to check out all the great work they have there, including the 2025 college rankings. It's their 20th annual. So thank you so much, Paul. Have a great evening. We look forward to talking to you again, my friend.
Anytime. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Have a good night. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we have an interview with Ashana Bigard, CEO of Amplify Justice. More in a moment on WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy tonight, a low temperature of 61 degrees. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 77. Thursday, sunny and a high temperature of 76. Friday, sunny with a high of 81. Saturday, a slight chance of thunderstorms and a high of 87. And for Sunday, we'll see a chance of storms with a high of 80. Monday, lots of sun and a high temperature of 79 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 75.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
WCPT Replay.
Welcome to the show. Kristen Kroll, Executive Director of Fair Share America.
As organizers, it's our job to create space to allow folks who may not have view the world the same way we do, but to be in relationship and to actually look at them as human beings and say, it's okay, that is over. What matters is today. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we are on the verge in this country of something very different that rejects a politics that is the most reductive. It is to play to the 50+1. How are we going to win this election by one vote? We are set up through billions of dollars of advertising in the election cycles to really dislike each other, to distrust each other, and at some levels hate each other. We are better than this. We are better than the politics that we've inherited, and we can fight, and we know it's working.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit InsureKidsNow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I want to welcome to our show, first time joining us is Ashana Bigard, CEO of Amplify Justice, advocate with Education Justice Project of New Orleans, and she also organizes the Women's Health and Justice Initiative. You can go to amplifyjustice.carrd.co. But let's learn more about the work that she does. Hi, Ashana. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I mean, it's always interesting being here in New Orleans.
So I have to tell you, I went to New Orleans last year for the first time. It was my mother's bucket list. She wanted to take Amtrak from Chicago to New Orleans. And since then, I have been back 5 times because I am madly, deeply in love with your city. And I know that it comes with so many wounds and scars, but the history is incredible. The people are magnificent. The art, the food, I could go on. Tell us a little bit about your background. Did you grow up in New Orleans?
Yes, I am a native New Orleanian. Like as far back as I can. Well, I can trace 6 generations, but you know, it probably goes back further. Yeah, a lot of people from New Orleans are like that. We don't go anywhere. We try.
It's like Chicago. I'm the same way. I'll visit, but I'm coming back to Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I am like 5th generation Chicago. I can kind of trace it back to the late 1800s. So tell me, I mean, I know folks right now are consuming all of the documentaries that are being released and reminiscing about the Katrina 20 years ago in the last few weeks. But tell us a little bit about growing up in New Orleans and what people might not understand about I think we know that the politics are corrupt. We know that there's been a lot of harm along the way, but tell us a little bit about your perspective and the work that you do.
Well, I mean, New Orleans is a place of people where, I mean, literally I was raised to value people over money and things. And I just had to, probably in the last 10 years be like, no, money is a value because, it's not a real value because it's not a real thing. Like, people are real. If you only have $20 and 1 pot of beans, people in New Orleans believe you share it, somebody's going to come back to you some kind of way. You know, money is here to spend, to help. And that is the attitude of a lot of poor New Orleanians. And people would say that that's why they stay poor. But the truth is that because we have the tourism industry, they've never paid the people in New Orleans enough a lot of times to build real wealth. If there was a time when you could work one job during the time of the unions, my grandfather, he worked one job as a truck driver he worked several jobs sometimes. But primarily he worked one job. And he bought a house, 2 stories, 7 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and he was able to do that and send 6 kids to college. The New Orleans I grew up in was very much, we were together. Like, it's like you could, I mean, of course, homophobia, all those things exist in New Orleans, but not to the level that people would like to imagine in a southern town. I tell people our town was a town that, people from all genders and all sexualities would run to because we welcome everybody. Like, we're not those people. A lot of the things that just happen naturally, like natural parties, they used to call them block parties and dance parties, where people just get on a mic, start doing music in the street. People were together and dancing and celebrating. And as I would say, as a teenager and in my early 20s, I didn't understand. I would be like, how can we be dancing in the street when there's so much oppression? Not understanding that celebrating your joy, your spirit, and your culture is a form of resistance. It's saying, no matter what you do to me, you can't break my spirit.
Yes.
I'm gonna have joy. I'm gonna be with my people.
So tell us.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go. I'm just listening to you, taking it all in. Go ahead. Because
No, and so there's so many jewels, I would say, that people think it's one thing, but the culture of what makes New Orleans beautiful to me is things like my grandmother told me. I remember asking her, why did I have to greet everybody? Because, like, let's say I passed a homeless man laying on the street and I didn't say good morning. My grandmother would be like, she'd pat me on my shoulder. Like, why would you do that? You go back and greet that man. And I was like, why do we have to speak to everybody? She said, because all of us are God's children. All of us deserve to be seen and acknowledged.
And tell us about Amplify. Is it Amplify Justice? I might have typed.
Yeah, Amplify Justice is my org, and so it is really about just amplifying the stories and the knowledge and wisdom and creativity of the people who are often ignored. And I mean, a lot of people say that, but a lot of people talk on behalf of people. When I'm more into get your message out, let me help coach you so it could reach a bigger audience, because people like to dismiss people based on a lot of times cultural things that the person in the hood who is talking to you about how bad their child's school is doing didn't think, well, maybe I should do my hair first. Maybe I should do my makeup. Maybe I should put on a light a suit or a dress that's a particular color, because if I don't, people who believe in respectability politics are going to automatically think I'm ignorant and I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, even though it shouldn't be that way, perception is real. And it's like, if you want your message to reach a bigger audience, you can do it. It's just you have to understand the optics of who you're trying to reach. If you're just trying to reach your neighborhood, girl, go ahead. Wear your bonnet and say it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to reach a broader audience, we might need to consider these things. And I'm not going to speak for you. Let's just go over what you were going to say. And I want you to say with the same passion you were going to say it. Just don't cuss, because we want to turn off the church people, because we need them as allies. Thinking about...
Isn't it amazing how fast their ears shut down when you do use a cuss word? I mean, and then people who are, so they're like, no, that's makes it real, right?
Right. And so it's all depending on who your audience is, who you're trying to get as allies, et cetera, and how they were raised. And I tell people a lot of times our generational stuff has to do with safety. Like, a lot of our grandmothers were telling us to wear long skirts, because they were worried about, at the end of the day, they were worried about us getting SAs, right?
Yeah.
And people say, well, the long skirts weren't going to protect you. No, they weren't, but they would make you more believable.
Right.
That's all. And it's like, not that your grandmother didn't believe you. She believed you, but she wanted a good defense. So if your uncle had to go out and beat somebody up or whatever, because it's the South still, that he would have a good defense if he had to go to court.
Wow. So is storytelling something that you grew up around? I mean, I think we all do, but we don't necessarily think of turning it into a project like you have.
Yeah, storytelling is not only is it something I grew up around, but doing my advocacy, I used to be I still am, but in my early days as an organizer and advocate, I had my friend and colleague Ernest Johnson come to me. He was a parent. He runs an organization called Mbutu Village now. But when he came to me, he was a parent, and his son, Ernest Cloud, was charged with murder. He was 13, and he did not pull the trigger. He didn't even have the gun. He didn't even know the boy who had the gun had it. But he was with two other boys that shot somebody, and that person died, unfortunately. And when the story first came out, everybody wanted to hang them high. They literally, in the newspapers, they would say they should all be executed, they all should be hung. Now, remind you, it's a 13-year-old and two 14-year-olds. And the 14-year-old both 14-year-olds were charged as adults. They wanted to charge his 13-year-old son as an adult because he was with them, and that's how that works in Louisiana and Texas. And we had to start telling the story of Ernest Cloud and have his father tell it, like how he wasn't there for his son, how his son suffers with mental challenges, how he wanted to get along, how he had been being bullied, how his mother wasn't there. So that's why he was out that time of the night. He just wanted to have friends. He didn't know what was going on, and he just wanted his child to have a fair shake and a chance. And that actually it shifted the tide of public perception, which is what I believe allowed us to have his son charged as a juvenile instead of an adult.
Tell us a little bit about that process, about getting that story out, about making sure that, whether it's policymakers or the media, knowing the genuine stories of circumstances around any situation.
Well, I mean, I think part of it is you actually have to talk to the media and not go to the wrong media source, right?
Yeah.
So you have to investigate, talk to media, and the good news is that I had already talked to some people in media. I knew some great reporters who did unbiased stories, because I wasn't even looking for a biased story. I mean, I was looking for an unbiased story that would tell the whole truth of what happened. And, of course, the child didn't even touch the gun. He didn't know the gun was there. He had stolen a candy bar from a store they went into, which he was very ashamed of and shaky about.
Wow.
So it's like, should he get adult life for being with the wrong kids and stealing a candy bar? Was essentially the question we had to bring to the people.
And how can folks support the work that you do and learn more about that?
Well, there's two ways. Right now, I just wrote a book called Beyond Resilience, Katrina 20, and it tells a lot of some of the questions you're asking about, like, it starts off really with meetings that we went through around education and rebuilding our very problematic education system in New Orleans. And the other way is just to contact me. We have a physical sponsor, which is Voice of the Experience, Vote. And so if they wanted to send a check or money order or whatever, we have a 501c3 sponsor, so they could definitely, as a donation, get money back. But also, part of it is just spreading the stories, because one of the things that we've been fighting for a long time in New Orleans is, at one point, just a few years ago, we had a 100% charter school system. We just have one traditional school right now in New Orleans, and all the rest of our schools are charter, and it's because it's systems. It's like the KIPS, which have a lot of schools, and college prep, which have a lot of schools, and then you have the independent charters. What happens is that we don't have democracy in our education. We do still vote in a school board, but all of those independent charters plus the charter networks have their own school boards, which we don't have any say-so over. And it's really like there's a law that people in New Orleans fought to pass to make the schools start doing cursive again, because most of the children in Louisiana and especially New Orleans do not know how to sign their names in cursive and don't know how to read cursive. So we passed that law, I want to say at least 6-7 years ago. The charter schools, because they said that was for public schools, they don't have to do that. And so...
Ashana, we need to talk more about this, because I think there's a very strong Chicago connection in regards to the education system.
Definitely.
And let's almost became our mayor.
Chicago has supported us.
I know.
G2 Brown came down. Yeah,
I know, but Paul Vallis didn't do you any favors. Let's take a quick break here. We're talking to Amplify Justice's founder, Ashana Bigard, and we're going to continue our conversation in just a moment on WCPT 820 and KKAW 1150 and KTNF AM 950. Thank you for joining us.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
Very happy to welcome John Fugelsang back to our airwaves.
Joan, I love CPT so much. I've had so many good times at your studio, and I just want to thank you for what you do. I think what you do is just so smart and so positive and strong and moral, and you model for these liberals how to do it with intelligence and guts. Always intelligence and guts.
Joan Esposito, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 on WCPT 820.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Folks, before I continue our conversation with Ashana Bigard, I want to remind you that this Sunday, September 14th, is the Run, Walk, and Roll for the parks, sponsored by Banner Foods, and we have a registration waive for one pair of tickets at 773-763-9278. That includes the registration, T-shirt, and pancake breakfast. You can hang out with Warren Price and join his team. This is to benefit the Chicago Parks Foundation. Again, that's this Sunday, September 14th. It is going to be at 31st Beach. That's at Burnham Park at 31st Street Beach, 3155 South Lakeshore Drive. And it's going to go from 9 a.m. to noon. You can run, walk, or roll. Bring your bikes if you got a wheelchair, rollerblades, roller skates, if you want to run. And there's going to be a post-race pancake party with food, drinks, and community fun. 773-763-9278. We'll give away a pair of tickets to our caller. And Lady B will get your information, and we'll pass that along to our friend Warren. Let's come back to our conversation with our new friend, Ashana Bigard, CEO of Amplify Justice and advocate with the Education Justice Project of New Orleans. And she also organizes the Women's Health and Justice Initiative. We were just speaking about the public school system, which was pretty much erased from existence. Was that entirely a function of Katrina and what happened in the aftermath?
Exactly, it was, but it was very odd because I tell people Act 35 was passed while we still were not legally allowed to come into the city, and not only that, but they followed that by firing all of the staff, all of the teachers, all of the staff, which turned out to be not that legal. And then they turned around and took over the majority of schools in New Orleans, but just in New Orleans, because had they done it for the whole state of Louisiana, they would have taken over the schools in Baton Rouge and Caddo Parish as well. But they raised the score of the failing school from a 60-something to a 84.5 to take over the majority of our schools. And then once they took them over, they went into Recovery School District, and that's when Paul Vallis and Paul Patrick come in place with just tons of lies and just doing the opposite of everything they said they were going to do. Yeah. And, of course, just misplacing money because money was pouring into New Orleans, the federal dollars, the innovation dollars, then philanthropy. The federal government had innovation grants. So, I mean, they were giving people money on top of money. And what they were creating was school-to-prison pipelines and just these very hard, broken windows theory schools. And I remember talking to a father who had been to jail about how the schools were so similar to jail. And he was like, no, that's not true. And I was like, oh, okay, please tell me more. And he was like, yeah. He said, because in jail we had a library and we got to go outside. And my son doesn't have that.
Oh, my God.
So when you're saying that jail was better than your son's school, we have a problem.
Wow.
And that, yeah, to hear that from a parent and just understand that as an advocate, my children are in some of these same schools. And we, there always was like the magnet schools, which then turned into charter schools, but it's the same administration, and they kept their teachers. They hired their teachers back, their certified teachers, whereas a lot of the other schools got Teach for America. Because they had the teachers had to retest to get their jobs. But anyway, that's
so for Teacher America is graduating college students who pledge to work for a certain number of years in exchange for basically paying off some of their student debt. Is that right? Something like that?
Yes, exactly right. I mean, the New Orleans is a playbook in disaster capitalism, but it's an experiment. And literally in the original, I want to say Act 90. There was the word experiment like 7 times. So they knew it was an experiment, but it's a failed experiment. And I tell people, and so when I see the propaganda of them saying what a successful model it is, and I'm like, how? Because so many people were not able to come back to New Orleans because they simultaneously knocked down all of the big housing projects, right? So you have all these poor people who are not able to come back. Some people wanted to come back and couldn't come back because of not just the projects, their housing, and not getting enough money to actually rebuild and repair their housing. So you had less students, a lot less students, more money, and dismal results. But also they were treating children, they were criminalizing trauma. They were treating children who had trauma like they were criminals. And it was a horrible time. I mean, and I would say that the effects of Hurricane Katrina 20 years later, the 20-year lesson is that the effect, we're still impacted by the effects on a level that people just don't understand. And it would be hard to believe because we are positive people. So most New Orleanians are very positive, loving people. And no matter how bad they're doing, they're going to greet you with a smile. If you are thirsty, they're going to give you something to drink. Because, again, people are more valuable than money. People are more valuable than things. And we, of course, learn that the hard way by losing everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, no, people are always more valuable.
Ashana, you mentioned Disaster Capital. I've been telling folks about this book by Naomi Klein called Shock Doctrine. And she talks about New Orleans and how basically, like you said, they were able to clear the slate to experiment, whether it was housing developments, healthcare centers, because they destroyed the hospital that had been serving the communities for over 100. Was it 200 years? Was Charity Hospital had gone?
Yes, and it had some of the most innovative things going on. You know, I mean, just the innovation they had going on with it. They had oxygen labs that they were trying to treat people with dementia, just all kinds of great things. And, they never rebuilt it. Everything for profit. Schools for profit.
Skyrocketing profit for the healthcare industry, housing, obviously. I've been watching one of the things when you talk about the charter schools that we know across the country how harmful charter schools can be because it's all for profit and they don't have to do, as you mentioned in the last segment, they don't have to follow the same guidelines that public schools, whether it's cursive, but also services for children with disabilities. Let's
talk about that.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, no, I was going to say, we are under federal consent decree because of the amount of children that they discriminated against and wouldn't let in schools. Mm-hmm. And I literally was just writing an article about it because one of the children I advocated for, like, she's the picture. I mean, it just, and I don't want to offend anybody, but she's like this little white, innocent little girl, you know, the picture of what everybody thinks that people worship, right? And just this little, beautiful little girl, big dimples, big blue eyes, curly blonde hair. She was deaf. She's deaf. A deaf kindergartner. Ask me how many of these great schools, our A schools, would accept her. None of them.
None of them. They don't have to. They can't because they don't have the programs for it, and they won't spend the money on the services.
Right.
It's not a profit.
And the fact that that's legal is a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, right now we're fighting to keep our federal consent decree in place. I'm literally just had a conversation with lawyers from Southern Poverty Law Center. We're trying to appeal to the judge to keep it in place because we have no accountability mechanisms here in New Orleans for all these schools. And the only thing we have that's halfway keeping them from just outright discriminating across the board is that federal consent decree.
Man, how do you take care of yourself through? I mean, I know that you said it's people putting the priority on each other, but this is a lot that you guys. I mean, this is a lot. Do you go for walks? Do you listen to music? What do you do for your self-care?
I mean, all of it. I go for walks. I listen to music. I talk to my neighbors. I sit on my porch and talk to my neighbors. We talk about silly stuff, you know, like we talk about the latest music person, the latest act, how everybody lip syncs now, you know, how silly people are in our city. We laugh a lot. I mean, you have to keep from crying, especially for New Orleans because our mayoral race is kind of a mess. Our current mayor is getting, you know, she had a boyfriend, and you know they're trying to indict her for it. And it's like even though all of our mayors have been guilty of similar things, but she's a black woman, so anyway, not that it was appropriate, but it's like I don't actually care. She has 16 boyfriends.
Right. In comparison, in the long line of, I mean, I don't even think people realize that Negan went to jail after Katrina. I mean, like.
They do not. And I'm just kind of like, I'm like, the amount of, and I mean, people just do not realize. And I think so many of, even our people, we listen to other people, and a lot of other people are tied to old power. And I like the fact that you were talking about, like, us being in an awakening and deconstructing, like, old ideas of power and really educating ourselves on what's going to help us and move us forward, because that's the only thing that's going to save us, because Louisiana is about to hit some serious hard times because a lot of our small towns are agricultural, and they're going to come to New Orleans and try to take more of our tax base when they dry up, and they will when that big, beautiful bill hits and those SNAP cuts go into effect. There are literally going to be people in my state starving, and I don't want to see them starve, but we don't have money to feed them.
Yeah, they got to put their hands on the stove. That's all I'm saying.
Right, because you know who they voted in. Right.
Ashana, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I feel like you're a new friend. I'd love to check in with you again. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Huh?
Please, yes. And tell people who watch the Hulu documentary, my book is available on Amazon, and the Kindle version, I think, is free. If you have, it's cheap to free. It's free for a lot of people. And it's Beyond Resilience, Katrina's Funny by Ashana Bigard. And if people want to know, it's there. So thank you again. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Oh, we're going to talk again, I promise. And maybe I'll meet you next month. I'm coming back for the 7th time in a year.
You definitely have to lock my number in.
Yes,
absolutely. We have to meet next month.
I would love that. I would love that, Ashana. Thank you so much for everything, the work that you do. On behalf of my listeners, thank you for sharing your story and the stories of so many New Orleanians. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. You have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That's our show. Sorry I'm late, Lady B, but how could I? Love you. Good night.
If you want thick, healthy, and gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is